So I owe you all a follow-up video. In last episode, we took a look at BearPanda Sheen and Leah, but I was missing a very important feature, and that's that part of their clothes disappear. After releasing the review, I posted it to Reddit like I normally do, and one of the first comments came from a user named Oldenbread that stated that they heard if you heated it up, their bunny suit went transparent. And this was complete news to me because I didn't see this advertised at all. Even for these Chinese figures, I almost exclusively buy from AmiAmi. And if we scroll down here to the specifications, we can see that they include the main figure, the base, right, the bar counterpart, the purchase bonus, and then the alternate face part with following eyes. It doesn't mention anything about a heat-activated element. And if we scroll through the pictures they provide, the only bonus feature that they're going to mention are the follow me eye faces. This was completely different from the BearPanda Lululemon that was supposed to have a thermoreactive bra, but that's mentioned here in the details on AmiAmi. And on top of that, it's advertised in the promotional photos. And if you follow our main channel, you might remember our review of Lululemon, where we could not get this to work, and we even go as far as doing an experiment to show that. So even if this feature was mentioned, I don't think I could trust that it would actually work. But then Reddit user Red Star Baker comes along and shares this photo. This was featured in the Chinese marketing material, but not on AmiAmi. And here we can see that the middle part of their bunny suit is meant to be heated up to go transparent. And beyond the source material, this is probably what makes these figures 18+. So I knew I had to test it. But even stranger still, just like Lululemon, they didn't include any instructions, nor mention of this feature in the packaging itself. Besides the sticker sheet, the only thing they included was this little piece of paper here, which is basically just their pledge of quality. So at that time, I went and grabbed a hairdryer, and sure enough, this time it actually works. So now I'm going to demonstrate that for you, show you what that looks like, because one is clearly better than the other in my opinion. And we're also going to take a look at what temperature that reaction happens. Then afterwards, we're going to reevaluate the ratings that I gave this figure last time to see if we need to make any adjustments. This is clearly a piece of information that I missed and didn't know about, and I'm more than willing to admit that and go back and take a look at that rating and see if we need to make any adjustments. So we're going to start with Xia here, who is my personal favorite of the two. I'm going to have to turn her towards me to make her heat up, but then I'll turn it back so you can see her. Alright, so this is Xia's here. This is her version of the transparency, which you can see is not very effective. So these don't go clear. Instead, they're supposed to change to a color that resembles their skin tone. And for Xia's, it's really just that lighter kind of purple color there, so it doesn't really have that effect that they were going for. Assuming an emissivity of 0.93, we're looking at about 108 degrees Fahrenheit or 39 degrees Celsius to see this transition to that wider color. So this is not something that you can do with your breath or even just your hands alone. You're going to have to provide a heat source. Now, even though Lin was not my favorite, I can tell you that hers is significantly more convincing. Now, unlike Xia, hers reacts and changes very quickly. In fact, on camera, you can see it starting to go dark already. But hers, when going transparent, actually looks like her skin tone. So I'll let you see this again in real time. So I think this was clearly how it was supposed to work, but BearPanda clearly needs to work on their thermoreactive paints. Lululemon's didn't work at all. Xia's turns whitish, but it's very slow. But Lin's seems spot on. And in terms of heating, it's the same. So it's still about 108 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 39 to 40 degrees Celsius before it changes color. But I think the observant of you will notice this is hardly transparent and it's not hiding anything, right? We're not revealing any nipples or anything exciting. We're just doing something that at a distance might look like they're not wearing anything in the middle part of their outfit. The belly button there is clearly the most exciting part, as it looks like it revealed something we weren't supposed to see. So in terms of this being an R18 feature, no, not even close. Now that we've seen this feature in action and know that it works and exists, how does this affect the rating that I gave it in the prior video? If you don't want to be spoiled on what the rating is, you have 3, 2, 1, and below is the score that I gave these ladies in the previous episode. To me, this feature only has the chance of changing the points value that I gave it in paint and value. Obviously, it has nothing to do with sculpt or modeling. It's clearly not part of the base, and it's not really going to add any artistic value to this figure. So when it comes to paint, for Lin, I noticed that she had some kind of shading in the middle of her outfit. Turns out it's not shading, it happens to be that thermoreactive paint. And I could only see this if I was really shining a bright light on it, otherwise it disappears. So even though this is a paint feature, and let's kind of just table the fact that didn't really work all that well, when these figures are sitting in your collection, this is how they're going to appear. And to me, there's nothing about their clothes fading to a transparent color that elevates this paint to the status of an average scale figure. It still completely lacks shading overall. So I'm still comfortable giving it a 2 out of 5 for paint. When it comes to value, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And this was because it wasn't as good of a value as BearPanda's 1/4 are to their competition, right? The 1/4 of BearPanda are competing at 3 times their price level, and these are maybe competing at twice their price level. And to me, once again, even though there is value added in that it has this play feature, to me it doesn't change the fact that its price is only competing with that of figures that are 2 times more expensive. And at the end of the day, again, this feature only exists when you play with it and bring in a heat source. When it sits in your collection, it's going to look like this the entire time. Unless you add like a heater to your display, which is probably going to have some seriously ill effects on the rest of the PVC surrounding the figure. So that's just not feasible. So even though I do think there is added value to it, to me it's not enough to elevate it from an already good 4 out of 5. So I'm going to keep it at a 4 out of 5. And this isn't me trying to be stubborn or anything. I made this whole video, right? I'm happy to change the final score. It's just at this really small scale that only rates 5 things out of 5. It doesn't add enough to me to increase any of the marks that I already gave it. However, if this were to be featured on our main full production reviews of Kohai's collection, there is actually a section for this. It's a minor points value, but we would account for this in the value section under playability, displayability, and accessories. The heating element is a unique feature that separates it from the average figure. This figure also has interchangeable faces. You can place the figures more or less anywhere on the base that you'd like. You have a lot of little accessories to move around. So not only are there many ways to display this figure, and not only are there a lot of accessories, there's even an added play feature. So I would go as far as to assert that at least on this scale, I believe it would get a 5 out of 5. But that score of 5 is literally only 5% of the total score. Whereas in our 5-point rating scale, right, each one is worth 20%. Definitely let me know though in the comments what you all think about this kind of feature, since we don't see this often or at all like in anime figure collecting. Personally, I find it fun, and if it were to actually reveal something more loot, it would be far more exciting. In this case, I think it's a little too gimmicky for me to really appreciate, but maybe one day it will lead to actually transparent things revealing something that's more secretive. In that case, that's something I would enjoy. But I think the real issue here is that it requires an extraneous source of heat. It's not something that you just touching it, like with your own body heat or breathing on it, can reveal. And because of that, I'm not sure how many people are going to be comfortable bringing a hairdryer to in front of their figure. And I can't imagine, especially now that I filmed this, ever showing this off to anybody in person. Oh, hey, you see that one figure over here? Let me go get a hairdryer and heat this up. It's going to be really cool. Oh, wait, sorry, it wasn't as cool as it sounded. It didn't reveal any nipples or anything like that. So I'm not really sure why I risked damaging this in the first place to try and show off this feature to you all. So yeah, I just can't really imagine doing this in real life to show to somebody, or even just going back to my collection, feeling bored one day and just wanting to see it. I just don't see that happening. I would have much preferred if the middle section was just cast off and you could remove the middle of the bunny suit. So no real changes to the certifications that I gave before, other than they're now even more of a tease. Friendly reminder, if you don't see us posting videos on our main channel, it's because we're probably posting Not Safe for Work reviews on our Not Safe for Work channel, Kohai's Curiosities. If you enjoy Not Safe for Work figures, please check that out. In fact, for September and October, we'll be publishing new 18+ videos. And lastly, to primarily support those 18 plus reviews, because we want to not keep them behind a paywall if possible, we have finally launched our Patreon. So if you want to support the mission of this channel and join our private Discord server to chat with us, definitely check it out. If you join the Student Council tier, you're going to get a monthly live stream, as well as voting access to what we do on some of our videos. And for all tiers, 10% of our payout is going to be donated to our local charity, and we'll post receipts for that every single month. So that's it for today's video. I'm now inspired to go heat random things up and see if they become transparent. I'm Senpai. Take care.